I went out skiing and got injured, so I temporarily entrusted the company to my close friend for management, who knew he was so ambitious, actually coveting both my company and my fiancée. Zhang Lingwei presented fabricated evidence of me sabotaging the company's industrial chain and persuaded other shareholders to support him as the new authority by claiming I was unfit for the presidency. Zhou Nan is now half-crippled and has committed grave mistakes. He must never regain control. I will fully take over company affairs. At this moment, my fiancée Lin Shengxin also stepped forward, gazing affectionately at Zhang Lingwei. I pledge my 20% shares to fully support CEO Zhang in taking over the company. Seeing my fiancé switch sides, most remaining shareholders endorsed the proposal. Just as the decision was about to be finalized, I walked into the conference room with my lawyer. Let's get the power transfer documents signed now without further delay. When the crowd saw me, astonishment swept across their faces. None expected the half-cripple they'd been discussing to stand perfectly intact before them in the meeting room. However, my fiancé and good brother remained completely unfazed. Lin Shengxing snorted coldly at me, her face filled with contempt. Zhou Nan, it's good that you know what's good for you. You've long been unworthy of sitting in this position. Since you have some self-awareness, we can still let you leave with some dignity. As she finished speaking, she linked arms with Zhang Lingwei and adopted a coquettish tone. Don't you agree, Brother Zhang? Zhang Lingwei wore a smile of absolute confidence. Exactly. Someone as despicable as him isn't even fit to shine my shoes. It'd just dirty them. The tension hung thick in the air, silencing everyone in the room. Even though I'd already learned of Lin Shengxing's betrayal, witnessing it firsthand now, I couldn't suppress the anger and bitterness in my heart. She wasn't like this before. When I fell ill, she would tenderly care for me. When I worked late, she would bring me hot meals, and her comfort carried me through my darkest times. But then again, I should have realized it long ago. After all, I didn't know when it started. She began staying out all night, and her responses to my inquiries turned dismissive. I steadied my emotions and limped toward her. Lin Shengxing, is this really how you see me? What did our 8 years together even mean? Lin Shengxing sneered. What? You want to settle scores? I haven't even demanded compensation for my youth these 8 years. How dare you pester me here? I'm Brother Zhang's woman now. Stay away from me. She shoved me as she spoke, and I lost my balance, collapsing to the ground. Zhang Lingwei, standing nearby, scoffed. Zhou Nan, if your legs don't work, stay home. I'd hate for rumors about me fighting a cripple for the company. How embarrassing. Watching their ugly expressions, everything suddenly clicked. After I fell ill and was hospitalized, Lin Shengxing, usually cold, abruptly became affectionate, even urging me to temporarily hand the company to Zhang Lingwei, citing concerns about operational chaos. Now it was clear, this had been premeditated. I slowly stood up, my eyes fixed intently on Zhang Lingwei. You. Back when we started the business together, after the company showed promise, I let you take a cushy position. I was the one carrying the burden, yet you secretly hooked up with my fiancée behind my back. How could you do this to me? To my surprise, not only did Zhang Lingwei show no trace of guilt, his gaze at me even carried disgust. Cut the crap. You've been reveling in your power as company president, must have been thrilled to death. I've long been sick of you. Why should you have everything while I'm just some low-level manager? After speaking, he taunted mockingly. Pity though. Now not just your woman, but all these shareholders agree I should be the company's new leader. Hearing this, I could no longer restrain my fury. I swung my fist and smashed it toward him. Bang! Zhang Lingwei was caught off guard, collapsing heavily to the floor. Lin Shengxin, seeing this, immediately pointed at me angrily. You dare hit Brother Zhang? If anything happens to him, I'll never let you off. After speaking, she immediately rushed over anxiously to check on Zhang Lingwei. How ridiculous. The punch I threw just now only grazed the corner of his lip. Yet he acted as if he'd suffered critical injuries, feigning extreme weakness. It's fine, Shengxing. After all, he's still your fiancé. Let him vent his anger. Watching my former lover behave like this, I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. This kind of woman isn't worth my heartache. Perhaps it's better this way. These trashy scumbags deserve to be shackled together forever. While I was momentarily distracted, the pair had already approached me. Zhou Nan, if you know what's good for you, sign this share transfer agreement now. Don't just pay lip service. Before I could even properly examine the contract, a pen was thrust into my hand. Lin Shengxin crossed her arms impatiently. Stop dawdling. Sign it. Don't think this failing company is some prized catch. Brother Zhang still has to clean up your mess. You should be grateful. A shareholder bribed by Zhang Lingwei chimed in. Exactly. If you hadn't caused the company to suffer such heavy losses, we wouldn't be in this mess today, right? You're utterly unfit to keep managing the company. Agreed. Someone like you should have stepped down long ago. Mr. Zhang is the right person for this position. Sign it now. If you're unworthy of the position, dilly-dallying like a coward. The incessant uproar in the office gave me a pounding headache. Yet, without exception, all the noise boiled down to one demand: signing the equity transfer agreement. I laughed bitterly. Unworthy of the position? Who here was truly unworthy? I'd previously asked Zhang Lingwei to receive our corporate partners, but he not only failed to meet them, he even openly mocked their modest attire, ruining the collaboration. In the end, I had to step in, cater to their interests, apologize with endless toasts until I vomited blood. That asterisk was how the deal was salvaged. Later, due to his lechery, harassing young women from partner companies, he botched 2 more deals. But due to our years of camaraderie, I merely reprimanded him and continued cleaning up his mess. So, who truly caused the company losses? Who proved utterly unworthy of their position? He knows the answers best. I refrained from exposing his deeds to the shareholders solely out of respect for our shared entrepreneurial beginnings, sparing him the humiliation of having his fig leaf torn away. Yet now he bites the hand that fed him, truly an ungrateful wolf that can't be tamed. After signing, I sneered coldly. Zhang Lingwei, you know exactly what you've done. Stop barking like a dog here. His face twisted with contempt upon hearing this. Now that you've lost everything, this petty gloating is all you've got left. Brother Zhang is right. As your fiancé, oh no, ex-fiancé, you've got nothing but this ruined company. With such catastrophic failures, no other firm would take you in. Frankly, you'll likely end up begging on the streets. Zhang Lingwei also wore a derisive glare. If you kneel and beg me now, I might show some mercy and leave you a toilet cleaning job out of our past camaraderie. Brother Zhang, you're too kind. Our company exactly needs someone as compassionate and capable as you to take over. Isn't that right, everyone? Seeing I'd already signed the equity transfer agreement, the shareholders stopped pretending respect and eagerly chimed in. Director Zhang is absolutely right. Under his leadership, our company will thrive. Exactly. If Director Zhang hadn't exposed how you sabotaged our industrial chain, how long would you have kept deceiving us? Director Zhang even persuaded us not to hold you accountable. Instead of gratitude, you attacked him. Truly the farmer and the snake. This came from Zhang Lingwei's closest ally among the shareholders. During the company's founding, he was my second-in-command who'd invested tremendous effort in our growth. Now even this old comrade was stabbing me in the back. Bitter desolation flooded my heart. Everyone I trusted had truly abandoned me. Zhang Lingwei couldn't conceal his smug triumph at seeing supporters rally to him. Since you all trust me so much, I will certainly live up to your expectations. In their eyes, the company's lifeline was now entirely in Zhang Lingwei's hands. To them, I was nothing but a treacherous villain. I smiled faintly and gestured to the lawyer beside me. Young master, these are the documents you requested. Before I could speak after taking them, mocking laughter interrupted. Really, Brother Zhou? Where'd you find this actor? He's even dressed the part. Exactly. Young master? Hilarious. If you're a young master, I'm a wealthy heiress. I looked up to see the two clutching their stomachs with laughter. Zhang Lingwei stifled his chuckles, approached me, and feigned sympathy. Brother Zhou, you didn't hire actors just because I took your CEO position, did you? Oh wait. You brought these people before knowing I'd replace you. So this drama was premeditated. Hearing this, I found it absurdly amusing. This man's imagination truly knew no bounds. What if I said it's true? After speaking, I gave the lawyer a meaningful look. Greetings, everyone. I am an attorney from City A's esteemed law firm, entrusted by the late Patriarch Zhou. I hereby solemnly declare that Mr. Zhou Nan is the long-lost great-grandson of the Zhou family. Pursuant to Patriarch Zhou's will, Mr. Zhou Nan shall inherit all assets of Zhou Corporation. As the words fell, a mocking female voice interjected. Stop joking. After 8 years with him, do you think I wouldn't know how much money he has in his pocket? Madam, as a certified legal professional, any statements I make are factual. The lawyer then produced a moon-shaped jade pendant. This pendant was originally a pair. One half was entrusted to me by Patriarch Zhou during his lifetime as authentication evidence. The matching half remains with Mr. Zhou Nan. Lin Shengxian stared at me skeptically. She had indeed seen the pendant's counterpart in my possession. Yet clearly, she remained unconvinced by the lawyer's claims. Lin Shengxian's eyes darting craftily. Since you're the young master of the Zhou Group, dare to take us to see your luxury car? Hearing this, Zhang Lingwei also seemed enlightened. Zhou Nan, you own a luxury car? Let's see it then. Couldn't be that 30,000 yuan BYD, could it? Lin Shengxian sneered. I bet that's it. That clunker of his must be decades old. I felt anger rising. If not for her extravagant spending forcing me to save money, I wouldn't still be driving this old car. Seeing that I remained silent, Lin Shengxian assumed I had a guilty conscience. She immediately egged everyone on to go see the luxury car. I stayed calm and said coolly, sure. The group headed to the company gate, all eager to watch me become a laughingstock. However, There were no parked vehicles at the company entrance, only my BYD, dusty and sitting farther away. I'd forgot. Tend to drive it back after my recent hospital stay for recovery. Well, Zhounan, where's your luxury car? Zhang Lingwei sneered. Lin Shengsheng looked at me with disdain. I said he couldn't have any luxury cars. It's all just deceptive tricks. Puffed, still calling himself the Zhou family young master? Where's your luxury car and designer watch, young master? Why don't we see them? He seemed quite honest before. Never expected him to be like this. Really cares about saving face. Now his lies are exposed. Zhang Lingwei chuckled softly. What's wrong? Cat got your tongue. Zhounan, I never realized before how much you enjoy pretending to be posh. I hadn't expected either that the driver who was supposed to wait for me had actually left. The driver must have had urgent business. I'll make a call. Do. Hello. Your phone account has insufficient balance. Please recharge promptly to avoid service termination. The air froze momentarily. Before making the call, I'd specifically turned on speakerphone to prove I wasn't lying. But never expected. Seeing my embarrassment, Lin Shengsheng snorted coldly. Can't even pay phone bills now, still putting on airs. You're really choosing pride over suffering. Maybe beg Brother Zhang? If he's happy, he might help pay your bills. Zhang Lingwei seemed pleased by these words, reaching out to embrace the person beside him. Shengsheng, you care too much about your ex-fiancée. If this continues, I'll get jealous. Brother Zhang, you're so annoying. The two flirted without regard for anyone around them, completely unaware. At that moment, hurried and frantic footsteps echoed from afar, growing closer. The person arriving was the company's accountant. Panting heavily, she scanned the room until her gaze landed on Zhang Lingwei. Director Zhang, something terrible has happened at the company. Zhang Lingwei's mood was instantly disrupted. He said impatiently, what's all the yelling? You'd think the company went bankrupt. Nearby shareholders echoed his irritation. Exactly. Causing a scene in front of the leadership. How unprofessional. The accountant's voice trembled with panic as she spoke. Our partner company suddenly demanded a payment transfer today, but the company account has no money left. The moment these words left her mouth, their expressions instantly froze. Lin Shengsheng was the first to react, her eyes narrowing coldly at the accountant. What nonsense are you talking about? How could the company have no money? Zhang Lingwei also frowned. Impossible. I reviewed the company's ledger just 2 days ago. It clearly showed a profit. But the accountant looked serious. Seeing this, the shareholders grew panicked. Director Zhang, where has the company's money gone? You must give us an explanation. Seeds of doubt had been planted. The shareholders all demanded answers from him. Everyone, calm down. Zhang Lingwei turned to the accountant. What's really going on here? Director Zhang, you weren't the company's president 2 days ago, so I could only show you account A. The company's account B is the detailed record of the actual cash flow. With that, the accountant handed Zhang Lingwei the account B ledger. Zhang Lingwei snatched the ledger, flipping through it frantically. His expression gradually twisted with rage. Why is there nothing but losses? Where did the company's money go? Watching their panic, my mood grew increasingly jubilant. Just then, a black Bugatti approached from the distance. After the car stopped, a middle-aged man in a black suit stepped out, his face filled with trepidation. Young master, I deeply apologize. There was an urgent matter earlier. I curled my lips into a smile. No matter. You arrived just in time. The crowd that had been eager to see me humiliated fell abruptly silent upon witnessing the luxury car sent to escort me. Someone exclaimed in awe. Damn, that's a globally limited edition Bugatti. Zhang Lingwei, still reeling from the bankruptcy revelation, erupted into frenzied curses upon seeing the luxury car. These actors in fancy cars are all rented to fool you. Don't believe his lies. If even I don't have these things, how could he own them? It's all fake. Suddenly, he rushed toward me, grabbed my collar, and screamed hysterically. You think renting actors in cars can turn you into some elite? Dream on. Listen well. Fakes will always remain fakes. I shoved his hand away and cast a disgusted glance at Zhang Lingwei. Get lost. If you're mentally ill, go get treatment. Don't come raging at me here. After speaking, I stepped into the car. Lin Shen, not far away, saw all these possessions I owned. The light in her pupils flickering uncertainly, her thoughts unreadable. Zhang Lingwei had already gone mad with rage. He looked around, wishing none of this was real. But the ledger on the ground forced him to accept this truth. Lin Shen could only pacify him. Brother Zhang, don't be angry. Zhounan must have orchestrated this. When she said this, her gaze locked fiercely onto me sitting in the car. Hearing his woman speak like this, Zhang Lingwei's expression immediately cleared. Shen, you're right. How much money Zhounan has, you should know best. I bet even this car rental money is loaned. This Bugatti, to my knowledge, there's less than 10 in City A. Renting it costs at least 30,000 per hour. Zhounan, when the debt collectors come knocking, don't come begging me. Sitting in the car, I calmly rolled down the window and said plainly, Director Zhang should worry about his own company first. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhang Lingwei stepped forward to argue with me again. After all, he knew perfectly well in his heart that I must have long been aware the company had become an empty shell. Otherwise, I wouldn't have signed the transfer authorization so readily. Now, his reluctance to investigate my company was merely an attempt to temporarily placate the shareholders. Hearing my words, the shareholders immediately recalled the financial officer's earlier statements. Director Zhang, as the company's helmsman, you must give us an explanation. Exactly. Where's the company's money? How can we operate without funds? Are we all supposed to starve together? Zhang Lingwei had tried to divert the topic by shifting focus onto me, only to have it thrown back at him. His eyes darted, landing on the still anxiously waiting finance manager. He directly slapped her across the face, then declared sharply under the crowd's stunned gazes. Don't think I don't know you've long been bribed by Zhou Nan. You and Zhou Nan are from the same hometown. You're deliberately causing trouble for me to stand up for Zhou Nan now that he's stepped down, aren't you? The dazed finance manager regained her composure after hearing Zhang Lingwei's words. It was true that the finance manager and I shared hometown origins, something I'd unintentionally learned during a company dinner. But we genuinely had no nepotistic ties. Director Zhang, before she could speak, Zhang Lingwei immediately cut her off. Enough. I know you're just taking orders from Zhou Nan. The shareholders turned to look at me in unison. I spread my hands and said with a light laugh, I have no relationship with her. Are you trying to divert the shareholders' attention? The shareholders' gazes shifted between Zhang Lingwei and me. Not seeing any guilt on my face, his complexion grew increasingly pale instead. The crowd, no fools, began to approach Zhang Lingwei. You must give us an explanation today, or face a lawsuit. Zhang Lingwei glared at me venomously through the crowd. His gaze was like a venomous snake in a cellar. Thinking of all that had happened before, I had never treated him unfairly and had even given him preferential treatment, unaware that he had long harbored resentment toward me. Seeing his distraction, the shareholders grew even more displeased. Zhang Lingwei withdrew his gaze and immediately switched to an obsequious smile. Everyone, please calm down. As the company's CEO, I will thoroughly investigate the financial matters. I humbly ask for a few days. Lin Shengxin, sensing the tension, stepped forward from the crowd and said, Everyone has witnessed Brother Zhang's capabilities. Give him some time, and he'll deliver a satisfactory answer regarding the funds. Here. ING this. I couldn't help but sneer inwardly. Capabilities? The ability to muddle through? Wasn't it always me who resolved things? Yet to the shareholders, those achievements were simply attributed to him. Moved by their earnest demeanor, one shareholder sighed. Fine. You'd better keep your word. Seizing the moment, Lin Shengxin continued singing Zhang Lingwei's praises. In the end, the shareholders agreed to give Zhang Lingwei a 1-week deadline. Zhang Lingwei instantly relaxed and smugly looked at me. Seeing Lin Shengxin defending Zhang Lingwei like this, I really wonder why she betrayed me. Was I not good enough to her? I used to create little surprises for her every day, and I granted her every request she made. If she said she wanted cake from the west side of the city, I'd brave heavy rain and travel dozens of kilometers to buy it for her. If she wanted the latest Chanel bag, I'd keep only 500 yuan for living expenses after getting paid and spend the rest on her. If she wanted to ride a bungee drop ride, I overcame my fear of heights to accompany her. I gave her both money and companionship, fulfilling all her needs. So why did she still betray me? At this moment, Zhang Lingwei, as if emboldened, sneered at me. Broke, but pretending to be rich. Careful not to play with fire and get burned. His voice was just loud enough for everyone present to hear. You all don't know yet. He used to act subservient to others during business negotiations. I laughed in anger, refusing to argue with him. Turning my gaze to the group of shareholders, these comrades who had struggled alongside me, I still extended an olive branch to them. You've all seen it now. The company has gone bankrupt. I'm giving you an opportunity to work at Zhou Group. The choice is yours. These shareholders were partners who had helped build the company into a powerhouse. I couldn't bear to see their talents wasted, but I underestimated the depth of their trust in me. Enough already, Zhou Nan. Watching you act out this charade exhausts even me, Lin Shengxin sneered. Rest assured everyone, Brother Zhang will provide proper explanations regarding the industrial chain and account books. At her words, the hesitant shareholders immediately rejected my proposal. Having been with me for 8 years, Lin Shengxin's statements about my affairs naturally carried more credibility. The company's industrial chain had indeed been compromised, though I couldn't initially trace the cause. But after discovering I was the long-lost son of Zhou Group's patriarch, I immediately dispatched investigators to look into the matter. What I never expected was that the ultimate culprit turned out to be my most trusted brother. Many financial accounts showed discrepancies, and this situation had already emerged before I even signed the equity transfer agreement. This department was managed by Zhang Lingwei. Yet he betrayed me by doing such things and even colluded with my fiancée. I sent people to gather evidence, originally intending to confront him privately out of past camaraderie, planning to cover the company's losses with my own funds. But I never realized he had long coveted my position. I gave them chances, but they didn't cherish them. I turned to the lawyer and said, "Bring out the materials." "Yes, Mr. Zhounan." The lawyer retrieved a stack of documents from the file, each clearly detailing every expense in the company. I motioned for the materials to be handed to the shareholders. They accepted them with skepticism, their brows furrowing deeper with each line they read. "Director Zhang, can you explain this?" "As everyone knows, the company's finance department has always been under your management. Where did you allocate these funds?" Zhang Lingwei faced the crowd's interrogation, momentarily speechless. He glanced around before finally fixing his gaze on me. "Don't believe him. These documents were forged by Zhounan. Now that I'm the company president, I naturally prioritize the company's interests." I sighed. Even with irrefutable evidence before him, he still resorted to excuses, utterly shameless. I pointed casually at the financial director in the crowd. "If you doubt me, ask the financial director." Zhang Lingwei subtly exchanged a glance with the financial director, and she immediately denied it. "Ask me? How dare you shift blame onto Mr. Zhang for your own actions? Wasn't it you who requested the funds that day?" Hearing this, my expression darkened. I hadn't anticipated the financial director being bribed by Zhang Lingwei. No doubt, she'd gained substantial benefits. I coldly challenged her. "Are you certain?" At my question, she swiftly glanced at Zhang Lingwei again. Then she said, "It was you. I have evidence of your fund transfers right here." Seeing this, Zhang Lingwei immediately chimed in. "Brother Zhou, though we're good friends, I can't take the blame for what you've done. It would disappoint the company shareholders." "Oh, who's really trying to pin blame on whom? Show your evidence then." Seeing I wasn't intimidated, both immediately lost their composure. I fixed a cold stare on the financial officer while other shareholders awaited her response. "Speak up. If you claim I transferred funds, why isn't my name on the transaction records?" I demanded, moving toward her. "Looks like the only option is to call the police." I'll talk. I'll confess everything. It was Director Zhang. He ordered me to do it. I was just following orders. I'm not involved." All eyes turned to Zhang Lingwei. I snorted coldly. "President Zhang, you owe the shareholders an explanation, right? We demand answers. With both witnesses and evidence present, what's left to deny? Return our money. To think you're this kind of person, and we voted for you today. President Zhang, you really had us all fooled and running in circles." Seeing his schemes exposed, Zhang Lingwei glared furiously at the finance officer. "After taking so much money from me, this is how you handle things." The CFO guiltily averted his gaze. "Zhang Lingwei, return the money. If you don't give us a resolution, don't think about leaving." The crowd gradually closed in on Zhang Lingwei. Sensing danger, Lin Shengshan immediately distanced herself from him. "Everyone should deal with him directly. His actions have nothing to do with me." Already enraged, Zhang Lingwei exploded upon hearing this. Glaring at her with fury, he shouted, "What a perfect nothing to do with me. Dare you claim you never spent that money? Wasn't it you clinging to me in bed begging for designer bags? Wasn't it you pestering me for sports cars? You know exactly how many you've wrecked." This was the first time Lin Shengshan had been verbally attacked like this. Unable to bear the humiliation, she swung her purse at him. "Haven't you squandered money too? Dare to take responsibility for your own actions." Both now blinded by rage, they immediately began grappling with each other. Watching them, I couldn't help but feel profound genkai welling up inside. One is the woman I love most. One is my best brother. Now reduced to such a state. How things have changed, with everything and everyone so different now. The shareholders pulled the two apart. "Regardless of the situation now, return our money first. No other discussions." Seeing negotiations were futile this time, Zhang Lingwei gritted his teeth and took out his phone. "I'll transfer the money now, all right? The bank can't process such a large sum at once. Give me a few days." The shareholders sneered upon receiving payment. "You'd better keep your word, or you'll be facing a lawsuit." Only then did the shareholders disperse. Zhang Lingwei glared at me darkly. "Zhounan, you just wait and see." I paid no heed to his words, got into the Bugatti, and sped off. Later, I began familiarizing myself with Zhou Group's businesses, kept busy from dawn till dusk. During a rare moment of closing my eyes to rest, the steward urgently sought me out. "Young master, something terrible has happened." I lifted my eyelids languidly, replying calmly, "Uncle Lu, what could possibly be so urgent that you came all this way? Hurry up and check your phone. It's flooded with your scandals." I opened my phone in confusion and instantly became fully alert when I saw my photos appear. #shocking. Former CEO of Acer Limited actually indulges in such wild behavior privately. #ex-CEO of Acer abandons fiancé and W. Illingly becomes homosexual for business deals. No moral bottom line. Hashtag. The posts included photos from when I went to negotiate collaborations, though taken from awkward angles that easily fueled inappropriate interpretations. Beep beep. I saw it was Uncle Wong, a shareholder, calling. After being recognized by the Zhou family, my father, my only remaining relative, had insisted on hosting a recognition banquet for me. But he was already critically ill when he found me, and soon passed away. Since joining Zhou Group, Uncle Wong had been guiding me through company operations. I answered the call to hear an anxious voice. Xiao Nan, what on earth is going on here? Only after I explained the whole story did Uncle Wong finally relax. Xiao Nan, you need to resolve this quickly. It's already affecting the company's stock. Let me know if you need any assistance. Understood. Let's end here for now. I repeatedly examined those suggestive photos, all taken at KTV scenes. Even if not taken by service staff, it must have been someone close. I immediately launched an investigation, but to my surprise, the rumors traced back to Zhang Lingwei. His warning for me to wait and see was actually setting up this ambush. Gripping my phone tightly, I scanned the trending comments. OMG, so juicy. Any insiders here? Spill the tea. A CEO doing this? Unheard of. Heard the former Acer CEO is actually Zhou Corporation's reclaimed orphan heir. Zhou Corporation? The Zhou family? Confirmed. Our stocks have taken a hit. And he dumped his fiancée? Disgusting. Before I could process this information, a familiar number popped up on my phone screen. It was Lin Shengxian calling. My ex-fiancé, are you satisfied with this grand gift we prepared for you? I replied coldly. What exactly do you want? After a long pause, Zhang Lingwei's voice came through the phone. What do we want? Now that you've taken over Zhou Group, money shouldn't be an issue. You nearly got us jailed. It's only fair you compensate us. We don't ask for much, just 10 million, and we'll clear up those online rumors for you. Fine. Meet me at the company entrance tomorrow. They seemed surprised by my immediate agreement. After a moment, they retorted. You'd better keep your word. Otherwise, watch Zhou Group stocks keep plummeting. Let's see how you'll keep your position at Zhou Group then. The next day, I stood before the company I'd once founded myself and sighed deeply. The place remained, but everything else had changed. Suddenly, a faint scoff came from behind me. Oh my, isn't this the illustrious young Master Zhou? Such noble status indeed. I turned around and almost didn't recognize them. Their clothing and gaunt cheeks made them utterly unrecognizable from their former selves. Seeing nothing in my hands, their expert Eshians immediately turned stern. Lin Shengxian was the first to rush forward, screaming at me. Zhou Nan, how dare you trick us? Believe me, I'll destroy your reputation. I looked at the ferocious-looking woman before me, a wave of disgust rising from the depths of my heart. Stay away from me. Don't touch me with your filthy hands. The current Lin Shengxian could rival those barbarians fleeing famine shown on television. Coarse hemp clothing, utterly destitute. Zhang Lingwei wasn't much better either. Disheveled hair and thick calluses on his fingers testified to his heavy manual labor. Before coming to this meeting, I had thoroughly investigated both their circumstances. Ever since Zhang Lingwei's embezzlement of public funds was exposed, the court froze all his assets and ordered him to repay the funds immediately. He finally sold all his and Lin Xingxing's luxury possessions to repay the debt. Not long after, the company's shareholders collectively dissolved. Dissatisfied with his circumstances, Zhang Lingwei turned to online loans, determined to stage a comeback. Yet he and Lin Shengxing squandered that money on carefree indulgence. They began a life of evading creditors. Now they could only cram into a damp basement barely over 10 square meters. Zhang Lingwei approached, eyes blazing with hatred, as if I were responsible for their downfall. Where's the money? The money you promised us, he snarled, bloodshot eyes bulging. Send it now, or I swear I'll keep leaking your dirty secrets. Lin Shengxiang chimed in viciously. I hear the Zhou family cares most about face. With their stocks crashing because of you, they'll expel you tomorrow. Even as the heir, our stash of photos from strategic camera angles ensures you'll never defeat us. My gaze drifted to the live-streaming camera nearby. A smile curved my lips. The endgame was approaching. The words they just said to me have been live-streamed in real time, and now public opinion online has completely reversed. I sent this the recently famous Zhou family head. So he's not gay after all. That scumbag couple is utterly despicable. I followed the crowd to criticize him before. Internet rumors really can't be trusted. Yet my smile made them mistakenly think I was afraid. Zhang Lingwei wore a smug expression. You still have time to send someone with the money now. We'll give you half an hour, or else. Or else what? Release those photos. Be my guest. Seeing my indifferent expression, the pair furiously tapped their phones before triumphantly waving the photos at me. You're finished, Zhou Nan. Just wait to be kicked out of Zhou Corporation. But after 2 minutes, instead of seeing insults against me, they found overwhelming condemnation targeting themselves. Only then did they realize their earlier conversation had been broadcast live. In the end, both were imprisoned for bribery and corporate property damage charges. As for me, I returned to my luxurious life as a young master of a wealthy family.